it really does seem like the willingness to engage in an open discourse and good faith conversation seems to be like the core solution for this. But like,
Yeah.
how do you break through to the people who have gotten to the point where they're unwilling to be considered? I guess like they don't want to consider the fact that their ideas might be flawed at all.
Yeah, I think you've just put your finger, Eli, on what may be the biggest challenge of all is if you decide. So so philosophers discovered thousands of years ago that testing ideas with reasons for and reasons against, is like the best way to try to weed out the bad ideas and get wiser. But if you feel threatened by idea testing, you can always ignore reasons. So reasons have a certain power to change minds. But if you refuse to change your mind in the face of a better reason, you can become impervious to reasons. And in fact, that is what will happen. So if you indulge in obstinate denial of evidence in one area of your life, you might think it won't affect the way you think about other things, but the evidence now suggests that it will. So if I decide to indulge in evidence-defiant religious believing, turns out I become more susceptible to conspiracy thinking. I become more susceptible to science denial. I become more susceptible to fundamentalism. I become more susceptible to extremism. The evidence on this is now quite clear that you have to be, you have to make yourself persuadable. You have to develop the habit of yielding to good reasons. Every time you come across new information that seems reliable, update your beliefs. Every time. You practice that again and again, day in, day out, minute after minute, your mind will become more supple, more resilient, and you'll become a better thinker. But if you stick by your guns and decide that that's the way you want to regulate the contents of your mind, you will become increasingly deluded and you will become an obstacle to human progress.
And I kind of am making a little bit of a jump to a conclusion here, but I feel like that type of thinking is kind of where culture or cancel culture digs its heels in. That's where you kind of get like you're challenging my position, and instead of me engaging with maybe how your argument might be flawed, I jump to you're a sexist, you're a racist, you're whatever phobe, and then all of a sudden it's like now I have to be on in defense of myself, because that's not what I was trying to that's not what I was trying to say. But all of a sudden now I'm literally being attacked, so I think I need to address that too.
Yeah, and so logicians have a word for, so when you're having a conversation and trying to figure out whether a particular idea is a good one or a bad one, if one of the two parties starts attacking the other person's character, that's actually, logicians have a word for that. They call it a fallacy. It's called the ad hominem fallacy, right? So that means attacking the person rather than attacking the idea.
Yeah.
So if in the way you test ideas, you start attacking the messenger or attacking the person delivering the ideas, you're not only destroying any trust that you might have built up with that person, you're also starting to sow the seeds of your mind's decay. Because if you rely on ad hominem attacks, on character assassination, on destroying people's reputation online by doxing people, you're damaging your own mind. You're not just damaging them, you're damaging your own mind. And the evidence on this is now quite strong. Treat even the people you disagree with passionately as fellow travelers on this small planet. People who are to be respected at the very least and cherished if at all possible. But that doesn't mean we have to respect every idea out there. Doesn't mean every idea is equally valid. Certainly doesn't mean that, because there are a lot of ideas out there that are genuinely, objectively destructive. And we have to learn how to spot them and rid our minds of them.
For sure. I actually interviewed a guy not too long ago named Dan Kovalik, who is also from Pittsburgh. I'm not sure if you know of him or not.
I don't think
Uh,
so.
his book is called "Cancel This Book: The Progressive Case Against Cancel Culture," and the way that you laid that out kind of sounds right in line with exactly what he's been saying, just kind of taken from another angle. He's doing it from the political angle, which is, you know, if we get caught up in cancel culture and all of these basically unprincipled arguments that, you know, we're fighting these micro battles all the time, that we're never going to get the bigger things. We're never going to get the things that are like, and a lot of the people that we're going after might actually agree with us on the larger substantive, you know, issues,
Yeah.
but we just have this minor squabble that happens inside culture where instead of using that person to be of bigger value and going for the larger, more beneficial thing, we've now just ostracized them and we lost somebody that could be helpful to the cause.
Right. So I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying, Eli. And here's part of what I think is going on. There have been a lot of disadvantaged people throughout history who've never had even a soapbox that they could use to have their voices heard. And we now have the internet where almost anybody can have their can spread their people can now use the internet, not just to be heard themselves, but also to hold the powerful accountable. So I think a lot of culture warriors on the left see that other people with more economic clout or more political clout than they are, they're trying to hold them accountable using what little, the one weapon they have, which is their voice, their capacity to cancel, their capacity to attack somebody's reputation, say. And they're trying to do that to try to level the playing field. Some of that I can understand just because I try to be compassionate about people who don't have other forms of power and who are lashing out because it's their only way to feel powerful. But it often comes out in a very harmful way, in a way that's not even helping the progressive cause.
I couldn't agree more.